Jim Acosta had two people. He had a Republican strategist on his show along with the Democrat strategist. And first, he asked the Republican strategist, isn't it time that Trump apologize for January 6th? And this was perfect.
Is it time for Donald Trump to apologize for what took place 4 years ago?
I wouldn't expect Donald Trump would apologize. I think nor do I expect Democrats to apologize for trying to undo his presidency by all legal and extra legal means after that.
Come on, Brad. Come on.
No, Jim, look at our own polling. Look at CNN's own exit polling. Voters who said they voted on democracy were evenly split between Democrats and Republicans. January 6th was a dark day in the history of our country. Donald Trump bears a lot of responsibility for that. It's something that should stain his legacy forever. However, voters, they punished him for it. That's why he was behind Ron DeSantis by 20 points until Alvin Bragg indicted him. And once voters decided that Democrats were determined to prevent Donald Trump from being elected by any extra legal means, they decided maybe this wasn't as clear.
I mean, shouldn't your party have just rejected him, just flat out rejected him, from Kevin McCarthy to Mitch McConnell to the whole lot of them? How could your party let him be the nominee again? Isn't that the question?
Watch what Kevin McCarthy and Mitch McConnell said in the aftermath of that. They absolutely did condemn him. Mitch McConnell was still condemning him months afterward on the floor. Yeah. Nancy Pelosi decided to use January 6th for partisan gain, though. She appointed. She refused to let Kevin McCarthy appoint Republicans to the committee. She didn't let Republicans hire staff to the January 6th Oversight Committee. They didn't allow cross-examination.
The January 6th committee had the Republican of all Republicans, Liz Cheney, on.
Liz Cheney
so
was
she was
booted
out of your party. I mean,
she wasn't appointed by her conference like
Dick
every
Cheney's
other
daughter.
committee. She wasn't appointed by the Republican conference.
Good Republican.
They live in a different universe.
Yeah, they really do.
They still live there after we smacked them with the 2x4 and we were like, stop it, snap out of it. They're still like, I can't snap out of it. I can't.
Isn't it amazing?
Mean Orange Man. I have TDS is real. It's so real. Wow, that was just an astounding clip.
Yeah, and it gets better because then he asked that Democrat strategist, her name is Maria Cardona. He asks about he talks about the fact that there's a lot of Democrats who are disappointed that Merrick Garland didn't do enough to get Trump. And so he was basically asking her that question. And that's amazing to me that's how he's posing the question.
Yes. Wow.
So here is that part of the exchange.
I mean, let me ask you this, Maria. I mean, Attorney General Merrick Garland, he put out a statement this morning saying he's proud of the Justice Department's prosecution of the Capitol rioters, saying, quote, put this up on screen, the public servants of the Justice Department have sought to hold accountable those criminally responsible for the January 6th attack on our democracy with unrelenting integrity. They have conducted themselves in a manner that adheres to the rule of law and honors our obligation to protect the civil rights and civil liberties of everyone in this country. But, you know, Maria, and I don't have to tell you this, a lot of Democrats are just totally disappointed in Merrick Garland and think that he botched this. Did he botch this?
I think that way too much time went past. And I think that led to people perhaps not remembering, perhaps not understanding the importance, and frankly, letting other issues become the priority because, you know, voters are concerned with what is happening to them that day, right? And so I do think that a lot of time, Merrick Garland allowed too much time to go past, but we don't know what it was that they were looking at, what facts were in front of them. I do think that he obviously had the obligation, if he's going to bring this to the justice process, to have the facts be as strong as they could be. And to go back to what you said, I do think that Republicans, not just Trump, but Republican leaders are going to bear a lot of responsibility, and history is not going to be kind to them. Because while what you said is true, that they were against him, that lasted like a nanosecond.
What the hell is she talking about? History's not going to be kind to us?
Mm-hmm.
These people are out of their minds. Completely out of their minds.
Yeah. And then the fact that the whole nonsense about the committee that you heard with the Republican strategist, and of course, Jim Acosta going, Liz Cheney is the best Republican of all Republicans in all the world. Here's what Kash Patel thinks about that committee.
If the 6th committee is in fact this legitimate committee, then you know what members of Congress can't hide behind the speech and debate clause for committing felonies when it comes to destroying and suppressing evidence to law enforcement agencies. And since we just found out about it, here's what I'm proposing. If and when Donald Trump wins the presidency, there may be a full-fledged investigation into those in Congress who aided and abetted this corrupt criminal activity. And we should look at who was responsible for what and whether there was any ill will and intention to suppress evidence from federal investigators. And if there was, that's a crime whether you're in Congress or not. So we should start there because they said the January 6th committee's legit. Okay, if you're legit, then you're subjected to the federal statutes. And let's see who broke the law.
God,
there's more.
It has always gotten away with it because the deep state has been in charge. So if you want real accountability, whether it's Democrat or Republican, remember it's that whole uniparty thing, you have to defeat the deep state.
I think he was talking to Joe Pags there.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. I cannot wait to see Adam Kinzinger in jail. You know how long he's going to last in jail? About 2.5 seconds, you guys.
He will be well
Crying.
liked, I think. I think he will be well liked.
He'll be well sought after is what he's going to be. Little cry.
And he doesn't, he said on a show yesterday that he doesn't want a pardon.
Oh,
He wants no part of a pardon, which I thought was interesting.
Adam doesn't? You said
Mhm.
Adam?
Yep.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Goodness. I cannot wait. I am salivating over Kash Patel being in that office. You have no idea.
It's going to be something.
I'm
It
so
is
excited.
gonna
I
be
think
something.
he's one of the guys I'm most excited about when it comes to this
Mhm.
administration. I'm so excited about it because he's going to unleash the hounds and the information, and there's going to be so much transparency. At least I hope there's going to be a lot of transparency based on what I've seen when it comes to him. So
Yeah, based on what he said. I mean, that's something that's super important to him too. So I would love to see it. And then
Yep.
again, no one gives a crap about January 6th anymore. And
No.
it's like CNN, they do these polls and they're still surprised that no one cares. In fact, Steve Bannon played this clip on his show, and you'll see him at the end of the clip commenting about these reactions to a poll about how much people care about January 6th.
January 6th is the biggest memory of Trump's first term. Look at this.
Wow.
It's just 5.
That is something. That
It's
is
just
something.
5%. I mean, most folks simply were willing to dismiss it without much of an issue. And among Republicans, what do we see? It was just 2%. So even though you had that significant chunk of Republicans who said we oppose it, even though the vast majority of Americans opposed it, the bottom line, when it came to November, even when it comes now, most Americans, simply put, Manu, are not thinking about it.
You see the gasps there? Everything they did. This is the reason, one of the many reasons they lost.
Mhm. Who's the 2%?
I know, right? Like
That's what I
well,
wanna
it's,
know.
it's Adam Kinzinger and
Is that-
freaking Maggie, what's her name?
Is
Like all
that-
the so-called Republicans.
They still consider themselves GOP because I'm like, who the hell are you? Stand up.
It's Kinzinger and Alyssa Farah and Liz Cheney. That's it.
Raise your hand and punch yourselves in the face because you're idiots. Oh my god!
I mean, that was amazing.
Remarkable.
But again, they really, really, really want liberals really, really, really want you to care about this. And they talked about this on The View yesterday. Sunny Hostin took this to an unbelievable place, January 6th, comparing it to some of the worst atrocities the world has ever seen. And honestly, this is like shameful how the comparisons that she was making. Listen to this.
I think we need to find moral clarity, you know, in this country. And I just remember after January 6th, you had someone like Mitch McConnell placing the blame on January 6th where it belonged, squarely on Donald Trump's shoulders. And then you started seeing people backtrack that and losing their moral center. You had Condoleezza Rice, I believe, on this very show saying, you know, we need to move on from January 6th. I say no. You don't move on because January 6th was an atrocity. It was one of the worst moments in American history. And when you think about the worst moments in American history, you know, like World War II, things that happened, you know, like the Holocaust, chattel slavery, we need to never forget because past becomes prologue if you forget any race.
I cannot. How is
I
this?
know.
How is this show not canceled? How? and just it should have been canceled based on her shirt alone. But then stuff comes out of her face like that.
Yeah, it's incredible. And Scott
cannot.
Jennings tweeted about it saying, "What an insult to every Jewish person on the planet, past and present. Breathtaking minimizing of one of the worst things to happen in human history. ABC will have to apologize, I bet." But I
hope.
disagree with him. I don't think they're gonna. I think nothing will happen.
They'll double down. They'll support her. It's so great. People have been canceled for so much less than what that. I cannot believe that she just said that out loud.
I know. Isn't it amazing?
And that people clapped for her. There are sheep in the audience. It's remarkable they have an audience of a bunch of white liberal moron women in that audience who are like, oh, like sheep. You know,
Right.
I don't get it. I just don't get it. It's so gross.
World
War II and the Holocaust.
And chattel slavery, like
what?
It's amazing. Like
Yeah.
she's just beyond.
She's bonkers.
Embarrassing.
That chick is bonkers.